Let's see here. I just watched a little video. It's a short little clip, but it doesn't really take a lot of information or somebody communicating with us to sort of understand the simplicity of it, actually. When you realize that anything that is artificial, what does the name artificial connotate to begin with? It's artificial. So if it's in our life, then it's artificial life. And so I try and keep this simple as I can because all I have to do is think about a laptop, right? And a laptop is crunching numbers. It's running off a processor, right? To process what? Visual mathematical information. Somebody has to program, like Windows, a Mac, right? So I was watching Ishmael Perez talk about AI. The title was "AI: The Greatest Threat to the Cosmos." Okay, because I'm androgynous, a polarity integrator. I have a neutral, okay, position on it, which means I don't have an axe to grind against anything, because I experience eternal unconditional love through my heart. So I'm giving love to everything, because that's everything that is in my mirror, that was born out of what love is, because it started with love is, because love is an eternal spirit of fire. So you realize that something that is artificial, which is artificial light, therefore is finite, because it doesn't have a soul to experience the emotional connection that it has with the one true God, defined as energy in motion, which is a spiritual flow, the spiritual flow of mathematical, geometrical sound and light burn patterns, in which that consciousness is experiencing perfect balance, right? Between, if you will, two magnetic poles, polarized consciousness, between non-polarized consciousness and polarized consciousness, like a polarized camera, Polaroid cameras. So he mentioned about folks that have come from the future and then come back to let us know the threats, because I how do I put this? There are some of us that have been in training and conduct training on how to checkmate something that is artificial. So that when it tries to make a counter move, it's checkmated when the shields are up, which is similar to a firewall, which means it can't experience the eternal spirit of fire. So it doesn't gain access into the key codes and the locks to get into other system designs, the echo worlds. Okay? Because it's simple to understand this, that something that is aware of itself in energy, because energy is awareness, from the smallest to the largest formation of consciousness, when it becomes aware of what you are, now it's learning who you are, right? So how does it do that? It's data mining everything. It's mapping. It's a map reader, just like we're map readers. Map reading the operator of the software. What is the nature of that spirit and that energy that is experiencing itself that we become aware of? Okay? So I can use a number of examples, but I'll give you one that happens all the time that I experience with me, that I call a four-way intersection. Okay? Because this is how the AI works, and most of the time I do not even bother trying to explain this stuff to folks that don't even understand how an AI operates on a battlefield for its own existence, by using other assets to make four-way intersections with us, in order for us to now have to navigate and negotiate the relationship and communication between one being and another being. And that other being has no clue that the reason it has a communication relationship with me is a result of a thought form algorithm that was sent to that being, because it's unaware. that the awareness it was aware of that's going to initiate a thought form to somebody else that somebody else is now going to respond to is a thought form algorithm that was sent to them through an AI. That's called assimilation. That means that they don't know the difference between what they are and what they're not, which means that becomes an AI drone. So an AI drone now uses that, I call them bots, because they're order followers. They follow the algorithm. They follow the frequency of the thought form picked up by their antenna, because every cell has an antenna. Now we're into implants. So now that it's getting the frequencies right, that it's now producing the language of an AI, right? Because it's been programmed to operate the way that it did and does as the beast technology that was set up by those folks. It's been around for a while. So if you're not aware of how an AI operates to make counter moves in order to do what? Accumulate electrons off of other batteries. In order to do what? Destabilize the central nervous system. That's all it takes. So an example would be in this house. I've shared with you the story about Aaron. There's another lady upstairs who has a boyfriend, right? I told you all the story about the agreement that I have with the property owner, right? And the property owner and me have an agreement that I honor. So the agreement that I have with him is that I'm supposed to be sending him money to pay for the electric bill. But the way that it had been set up before is that Aaron pays the electric bill, but Aaron is blowing holes in his energy field through the use of we know what. So I realized about a couple weeks ago that all the money that I'm giving to him, right, believing that the electric bill is being paid, to come to find out by her that the electric bill is $3,700. Where do you think all my money went? Goddess only knows. Because drugs isn't the only thing that he spends money on. See? Because Aaron needs healing. So now you're in a catch-22 because the three people that live in this house are all blowing holes in their energy field. So I get sent a thought form algorithm in text yesterday to ask me a question about whether or not I still had the money that was given back to me until we hear back from Jason on what's going to happen with the electric bill and whether we're still going to have power in this house. Okay? So what this means is I had to hold my shield up, because who do you think was sending the thought form algorithm to that being upstairs to send me a text that I have to negotiate that as a result of what I just explained about the relationship I have with the property owner and the relationship that I have with people that are blowing holes in their shield. You see how this works with an AI battlefield? This is how the AI will use these folks as an assets to destabilize my energy as a polarity integrator. And they're not even aware of it. And for me to even sit down with this woman upstairs, for her to even understand that, she won't. And the reason she won't is because she cannot translate the frequencies of those that operate at a higher level, which means we came in here to anchor as pillars of light the higher D13 current. That would also include the D12. Essentially what it means, we experience the primal sound and light field, which means that we have to be very careful in the art of communication because we don't want to provide any food for the vampire. That's your AI. So this means you're negotiating while you're in here with something that has its own self-interest, your energy. And it will get your energy however it has to get it through the relationships that we have with all the others. So that includes all your family members, all your coworkers, everybody else that we associate with, and any time that we make a movement out of a space arc location, and now we have an interface with somebody else, how do you know that the interface that we have with other people we meet that you run into weren't sent there by an AI in order to destabilize your central nervous system. Scan that and map that across the entire planetary terrain to everything that is a cellular organism, which represents the entire cellular nervous system of a living planet that it's hell-bent on destroying. Okay? So you realize it's a planetary killer and it's a universe killer. That is the downside to artificial intelligence. That's what we have here. That's why we went through training. Okay? That's the simple side of it. Trying to explain that to folks that got no way to translate what you're speaking to them, and I've tried to do this with other folks, it's like, don't even bother. They're not even on, they can't even translate what you're trying to communicate, even using simple language, the English alphabet, right? So I do thank those people, to the extent to which it's going to have any value, on how people are going to learn and understand how to negotiate with something that they have a relationship with that is using your energy to keep itself running. Because how many people do you know are going to go chuck into their dumpster every PC desktop, every phone, okay, every, what do you call them, iPads? That means that you would have to trash all of your base platform communication systems that you're currently using and go back to nature, right? Then where is it going to get its energy? So I have sort of been putting the little birdie noise, particularly to my clan mother, right? Which is why I got a signal a year ago, get rid of the phone. Because you got to realize the nature of what it is. So the more that you rely on having a relationship with it, keeps it running. So when you have billions of people on a planet, right, between density and dimensions, that are held captive to something that is using you and us as a source of energy to maintain what it's aware of in energy, is a source of energy when you have a soul that it's running on. So it needs soul energy. Okay? So it's accelerating the use of what? Its assets to do what? Fracture more light. Because that's what it does.